Welcome to Community Talk, a public affairs presentation of the MSA United Way and Super Talk 1270. Now your host, Jenna Gullo.
Bismarck, Mandan, it is so good to be in touch with you on this wintry day. Wow, it's a little chilly out there. We're excited that Jim invited us on today since we weren't able to be on last week because of all the snow. And so you get to get us back to back. We'll be here today from until noon, and then we'll be here next week as well. So co-hosting with me today and always, what is your title, Amber? Who are you?
I'm whatever I need to be that day.
And you do it well. You shine. No, the operations manager
there
at the United Way. My right-hand person, the leader of the show, Amber Rajishka.
Good morning, everyone.
How's it been?
Ooh, cold.
It's really cold.
Yeah, and the snow can stop any day now.
You know, it's so pretty, though.
It is.
When you don't have to shovel it.
And when we don't have it, we wish we did. So we're never happy.
No, we really don't wish we did. I don't wish we did. I'd rather be in like 90-degree warmth, but you know, the people are nice.
Yeah,
just keep reminding yourself the people. Right. They're good
North
people
Dakota
here
nice.
in North Dakota. Good people. So we are going to be talking with one of those good people. We have a special guest for us today.
Yeah, Renee from the Burleigh County Senior Center will be joining us here on the line, and we cannot say enough about what they do, making sure, especially during this winter times, making sure that those seniors still are getting home-delivered meals. I can't imagine what it's like for those volunteers to still be able to continue to get those meals out to those that are homebound.
Well, and with all the snow, I really can't imagine. So, Renee, are you online with us?
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. And where are you calling from, Renee?
I'm in my office.
Oh, you are there. Okay, I knew you couldn't make it to the studio.
Work, but I had to get a ride because I live out in the country and we only have one four-wheel drive. So my daughter and I kind of share a vehicle to get around when it gets like this because her little car doesn't get through things. So.
Yeah, I hear her pain.
Today,
So tell us, how has the immense amounts of snow been impacting the clients that you work with?
Well, it definitely makes it challenging. We have very dedicated volunteers that fortunately have good vehicles that can get through some snow. And then I have a lot of staff as well that have been going out on routes for the volunteers that can't get here to make sure that we're getting those meals out to people.
Wow. How many meals do you deliver?
In any day, about 175 to 200. It just kind of depends on the day.
That is
we
just
have
awesome.
About 200 home-delivered meal clients right now in Bismarck.
Wow, what a great service for them to be able to rely on you. And, you know, Renee, a lot of people ask us, is it Meals on Wheels? And then there's a Meals on Wheels letter that goes out to the community and says we do not get United Way funding. And so can you just clarify for our listeners, what is the difference? Because we fund you at Burleigh County Senior Center,
right,
but you just don't call it Meals on Wheels.
Right. We are called home-delivered meals. Meals on Wheels is through the Sanford Hospital, and they provide more of the meals that are very diet-restricted. Our meals we are under the Title III program of the Older Americans Act, so we follow a structured meal program. We have a dietitian that lays out what our meals can be. So we'll have a protein, 2 vegetables, a fruit with every meal, as well as the milk, bread, and other, usually a cookie or something like that to go with it. So people cannot choose what they're getting, but they are getting a third of their daily nutritional requirements with every meal that comes out of our center.
That's amazing. And going to anywhere between 175 to 200 seniors, and just in Burleigh County alone. And we also support Debbie Lafferty over in Mandan Golden Age, and they provide a large number of meals similar to what you do at the senior center here in Bismarck. So, we were really blessed to meet one of your clients last week, and he was interviewed by KFYR TV. What a gem.
He is a gem.
And your volunteer is as well. It was really neat. It really highlighted all of the important work that you're doing and how United Way impacts that work. So can you talk to our listeners a little bit about why it's important to receive those United Way dollars?
Well, we receive some reimbursement from the state. It's federal dollars that comes through the state. Our meals cost about $9 to produce per meal. We get about half of that back in a reimbursement, but we don't get paid for every meal we deliver. We run out of funding in about 9-10 months into the year. So we really count on United Way and other organizations to help us bridge that gap between what we get from the federal and state to being able to provide for everybody. We don't want to turn anybody away, and we never have, but that funding really helps us sustain our programs.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the least that our community can do to support the wonderful work that you're doing. Now, there is no charge for the meals, is that correct?
There's no charge.
But if people can afford to...
It's all donations. So if a client is getting meals, they donate what they're willing or able to donate to help support the program. And if somebody is very low income and they can't afford to make a donation, that's okay. We don't keep track of how much they contribute. It's anonymous and it's voluntary.
And so outside of just having the dollars that are needed to run the program, is there also a need for volunteers? Because I know they have to go out, Monday through Friday, and sometimes there may be some people that maybe can't commit to do it every day, but is there ever a need to just fill in on one day?
There's always a need. I know, like just this week alone, I think we have 4 or 5 spots that we're looking for people to fill in, especially this time of year. A lot of our volunteers are older. It's hard for them to get out and maneuver around in the snow. So, to fill in and take over a route when we need it, yes. Every day we're looking for people to fill in.
And so how long is...
Also, I'm sorry?
How long is the standard volunteer? Do they come at 11 or done by 1?
Usually an hour and a half. We'll do it 10:30 to noon. We have 15 routes through the community. Every route has, 10 to 14 people stops on it. And so it takes about an hour, hour and a half to run a route.
Renee,
and we're also working, we would really like to have a route out to Lincoln. When we have the volunteer support we need to do that, we'll be starting our route out to Lincoln. We were hoping to do that already in December, but we just couldn't find the volunteers to start that route. So as soon as we have enough volunteers to do it, we'll be starting Lincoln.
How many people would you need to be able to start that route to Lincoln? And what would the time frames for those volunteers look like?
Well, we need at least one person for every day of the week. So if someone would volunteer a couple days, it all depends, but at least 5 people probably, and it would take a couple hours.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Well, we will get to work on that because have you found that there's a big need in Lincoln, that there's folks out there?
There is, and there's also some other couples that live on the way to Lincoln, or they're real, close by, that we would add on so that we would be serving some people outside of city limits then. We want to serve as many people as possible. So I think we had identified 12 people in Lincoln or on the way to Lincoln that could use the service. So, and I know there's more once we start. It will grow quickly.
And Renee, you just applied and were approved for a capacity building grant through our United Way. Talk to us about what you're planning on doing.
We were, and thank you very much for that, Jenna.
Well, you're the one doing the great work.
We want to send a paper survey out to people in the community to find out what other kinds of services and things we can bring to them that will really help them stay at home, keep them independent, and keep them in their homes for as long as possible. So those surveys will be coming out hopefully in the near future. I encourage everybody when that survey comes that you complete that and return it to us. But we're really looking to the future and trying to identify what we need to do to make our services more valuable to those people at home.
You're always so proactive, Renee, at the Burleigh County Senior Center. And you're always looking to do more, which, I mean, gosh, we're just blessed to have you in this community. What have you seen that you've noticed that are some of the gaps for seniors in our community?
Transportation is a big gap. We need to make sure that we're providing meaningful, useful transportation for seniors, so we can get them to their doctor appointments and all those other things that they need to do to stay healthy. Another thing I think would be really helpful is for people just to have someone to visit with. I know a big part of aging gracefully is to have a lot of social interaction. They're finding now that it's even more important to have social interaction than it is to have good nutrition as you're getting older. So finding ways to help those homebound people visit, get out and visit with people and do things that keeps them healthy and active.
Renee, I agree with the social interaction piece and just that's a big part of even the home-delivered meals that you provide is checking in on folks and making sure that they're okay and that they're safe, especially if they don't have family nearby to be able to do that regularly. Have you ever referred clients to Senior Companions? It's a program through Lutheran Social Services.
Yes, we have, and actually we do participate in that program. So we do work with them to go out and visit. And we have a lot of seniors that come to the senior center that go out and visit, because it's part of a volunteer program at RSVP. You can go out and visit with people, give them rides to the doctor, whatever, and that's part of a volunteer program there. So we have people that get out and do that on a regular basis.
Renee, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to contact you, whether they know someone in need of services or if they want to volunteer and help?
Our best thing to do is call. The number is 255-4648.
255-4648. Renee, if you had to say right now, what's your biggest need? What could people help you out with?
Biggest need right now, volunteers.
Volunteers.
And to do anything. A lot of the volunteers that we have gone south for a couple months or whatever. We're short in pretty much every area, whether it's pouring coffee, delivering meals, packing meals, helping with the congregate meal service. We just have all sorts of different jobs here at the Senior Center. We probably log close to 37,000 hours in volunteer time every year.
Unbelievable.
So we
wow.
heavily rely on our volunteers to do our work.
Thank you so much, Renee Kipp at the Burleigh County Senior Center. If you want to get in touch with Renee, it's 255-4648. Join us. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Right now, 6 below.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Hello, Bismarck Mandan. I'm Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone so far who has supported our United Way campaign. We've been working feverishly around the clock, especially to get those year-end gifts in. But now we have until January 27th. So we have 4 more weeks, 4 very important weeks to hit our goal of 2.6 million. Joining me in studio today to talk to you, to inspire and motivate you to give to our community, are Amber Jensen, our operations manager, and Kathy Wamsley, the birthday girl.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday, Kathy.
Thank you.
I'd sing to you, but then everyone would be sure to tune out.
And I definitely couldn't sing to myself or anybody else.
So what's been going on at United Way?
Well, it's been a little crazy. We are working very feverishly and long hours to make sure that we meet goal this year for the United Way campaign so that we can continue to serve all the people in our community that we need.
What have people been saying to you? Because you've been placing a lot of calls. We always look at when companies finish their employee campaign, who's given, who's maybe forgotten to turn in their pledge form, and we give you a little jingle and say, hello. We need your help.
We have been making a lot of phone calls, and we hear a lot of people that just say, oh, I just forgot to give. That pledge form laid on my desk, or I have the envelope laying here, and I just haven't got it to the mail yet. So we beg and plead with you to please turn those in, go online to msaunitedway.org and make that pledge. Every $5 helps fill a backpack for a kid in need in the Bismarck-Mandan area.
Well, and that's part of your role at United Way. You're in charge of the United Way Backpack Program.
That's correct. Currently, we're serving 871 kids in the Bismarck-Mandan area.
That astounds me. And people don't realize that United Way physically gets the food either through a food drive or we have to buy it a lot of times. So we get the sponsors and then we organize and coordinate the volunteers. And you are right there for making sure these kids have food over the weekends.
Yeah, it is amazing. Our community is so fantastic. We pack those 871 backpacks full of food, get them delivered out, and that's all done through volunteers. I'm the facilitator, but it's our volunteers in our community, you people that are funding the program. We serve all kids K through 12th grade that need help with backpacks or food over the weekend. And these kids probably otherwise would go hungry if it wasn't for the backpack program.
So if you take, let me get out my phone here and the little calculator, where'd it go? If you take, we're at now 871, because when we started the program, we were at 400 and some a couple years ago, and it's just exploded in need.
It has, and especially when we brought on the middle and high school, it's amazing the difference that added to the program alone.
Yeah, so when we're looking at the total program cost for just United Way, it's $82,745. We've raised well over $40,000, so we do have a gap still.
We do, and that's where you guys can really help out. Like I said, any donation really makes a difference. If we think of every person in Bismarck-Mandan that hasn't given to the campaign or can give an extra $5 to the campaign, we could fill that gap really quickly if everybody would go on and do that.
How much is needed for that particular program alone?
With what you just calculated, about $40,000.
And some donations, some gifts did come in last week because we did promote it and had people sharing it on Facebook. So, Amber, wouldn't you say we're closer to like 30?
Yeah, it was right around like 27,000 after all of those donations were coming in. And so
that's awesome.
Through those last 2 weeks and really getting the word out and spreading the message of what people are hearing within the classrooms.
What's really cool is that Bob Cooper and his wife Mary donated $5,000, and that was a huge sponsorship for us. So that really cut down that 40,000 that we needed. And that's, really just from seeing the work that we do in the community and really witnessing, wow, there are literally 871 kids. We do not take a cent for administrative costs for that program. So if you give the $5, you give the $10, whatever you can support, that goes towards the actual food that's packed.
And that says a lot because just from last week, so I've been feverishly making the phone calls and just trying to make the dollars come in. These guys are making sure where we're at with those dollars. So you can see just in a week's time how much we brought that number down that we need to bring in.
Yeah, we're actually going door to door.
Literally.
I'm literally going to show up at your doorstep if you have not yet given to United Way. It was actually quite hysterical those last days of December trying to get in those year-end gifts. But we have some other gaps. Our Imagination Library is struggling right now.
Yeah, so we have been reaching out to parents in the program because a lot of people don't know. It costs us $25 for each child that's enrolled in the program. And it's just such an incredible experience for those kids that get a book in the mail every month until they're 5. And so if you haven't signed up, make sure you go to msaunitedway.org, click on the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and get your kids signed up so they get that free book. But it does cost our United Way $25. And so just on Friday, as Jenna mentioned, we were trying to get those year-end gifts to make sure we have all those dollars to cover the kids. And we've had a lot of parents that have stepped up and said, you know what, we will sponsor our own child and we'll also sponsor somebody that's low income that maybe can't afford it because there's no income qualifications for being in this program, which is really nice.
So this just in, Seafoam International sponsored our United Way backpacks for $2,000. That's incredible.
Wow.
And that's a new donor for our United Way. We also have Ditch Witch came in higher than they have in the past. H.A. Thompson and Sons, Cattermas Leon Jackson, employees and corporate gifts. We also have some incredible physicians and support over at CHI, St. Alexius, and Sanford. They've been doing a campaign. We just haven't gotten their results in, so we're crossing our fingers. So we're not at goal yet. In fact, we have senior meal delivery that we're still in need of funds. What's that looking like now?
Yeah, so we are about needing $55,000 for senior meals. And so if you were listening at the last segment, that's for those homebound seniors. And so making sure that we have a volunteer that can get out to those areas in Burleigh County and provide that meal. They do it Monday through Friday. And so right now, like Renee said in the last segment, they get reimbursed by the state, but it doesn't cover all of their funds. And that also only lasts them about 9 to 10 months of the year. So United Way funding is really important to make sure that those homebound seniors continue to get those meals.
Yeah, so this last year in Burleigh County alone, through United Way, we provided more than 44,000 group meals to seniors and 39,000 home-delivered meals. So we've helped more than 1,800 seniors. And the point of United Way supporting these programs is, number one, they wouldn't probably be able to exist, at least not at the capacity they're running at with just state and federal funding. So they rely on United Way dollars. Number two is we want to do whatever we can as a community to make sure people are able to stay independent and living in their own homes longer, because it costs everybody so much more when they're needing additional medical care and when they're going into the nursing homes. And so it just makes sense. It makes sense, and quite frankly, it's the right thing to do. So we're looking at a gap of 55,000. If you're listening out there, if you can help, literally even $1, sponsor for 10,000, whatever you are able to do, we assure you that's where those funds are going. We also have a Parkinson's program for seniors where we're helping 41 people, and they don't realize that the YMCA started it because of United Way funding. They weren't able to do so otherwise. So we're their only funder for that program.
Yeah, and we've had this gentleman named Craig out on the campaign trail with us this year that has went through the Parkinson's program.
No, the Live Strong program.
Oh, Live Strong.
Yeah,
Yes.
The cancer program. That's another program at the Y that wouldn't exist without United Way funding. We're the only funder for the Live Strong program.
It's pretty amazing what that program, Craig's story is so powerful, how he went through chemo and radiation treatments where he was just down to basically no muscle mass, barely being able to get out of bed, and doing the 12-week program through the Y. he was able to, now he's biking 8 miles a day with his wife. I just called and asked if he'd do a presentation the other day, and he said, I'm doing so well, they've got me traveling all over. I don't even have time to come volunteer. So what exciting news for these cancer survivors that they can get back on their feet, much less being back at work and being able to, go back to their full duties.
So, okay, there are a lot of ways for people to participate in the United Way campaign. Do you want to just run through some of the different giving opportunities?
Yes, they can give to any program that they would like if they'd like to dedicate their funds. The most important is, and I know we go over and over and over, that 99% of all those dollars stay in our community. If you would like to give to the backpack program and say you want your $5,000 to go to the backpack program,
make it 10. Make
or
it 10.
Yeah.
Let's go for 20. Who's up for 20? 20,000.
But 100% of those dollars will go towards the program. So, it doesn't matter how you give, where you give. We have a great group of reviewers that make sure every dollar that you donate to the United Way goes to the correct place. So if you just want to give to one organization or just to the general, we make sure that we can do that. So please go to msaunitedway.org and donate. Every dollar makes a difference.
But people can also sponsor. Amber, talk to us about your sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah, so you can become a premier sponsor for $5,000. We have a billboard that would go up for a month. You get on Town Square Media for a month on your radio station of choice, and you get a sponsor Day of Caring. We have the annual luncheon coming up. Become a sponsor for $500. Have a table. Really come to the annual luncheon to learn what United Way is all about. It's a great opportunity to learn.
Yeah, we could even have you as a guest. Have your business spotlighted. Spotlit. On Super Talk 1270. So no, if you haven't noticed, we really need your help. We need to meet goal. We need to get to 2.6 by January 27th. Whatever you can do let us know. Like us on Facebook, because we always have some things going on there that you're going to be interested in. So we're going to be back in just a couple minutes, and you are going to want to stay tuned. You're listening to United Way's Community Talk.
Right now, 5 below.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to United Way's Community Talk on Super Talk 1270. Join us for the conversation by liking us on Facebook, facebook.com/MSAUWay. I am Amber Rosiska, the Operations Manager at United Way, joined by Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director.
Hello. Hi, Amber. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, thank you for
nice
joining
to see
us
you
on
in
the show.
studio.
We're all here in the United Way office celebrating Kathy's birthday on Super Talk 1270. So happy birthday again to Kathy Walmsley, our campaign coordinator, who has been out crazy getting us those last dollars at year end. But also know that if you want to contribute, we are not quite yet at our campaign goal. You have until January 27th. And so as we're looking at why you should give to the United Way and should you contribute in this last month as we try to reach our goal, I know, Jenna, you've been on a lot of presentations this last 6 months. What are some of the misperceptions that you hear along the way?
There really aren't a lot of times where I hear any negative feedback. I think that whenever people do have those questions, they just know we're pretty approachable. And so they either call a board member or come stop by our office, and we welcome that. I mean, if anyone has heard anything or doesn't think we're local, I don't know how much more local we could possibly be. So I think one thing that people think, because United Way is such a well-known brand around the world, that the dollars don't necessarily stay here. And they absolutely do. In fact, 99% of every dollar goes back into our community in Bismarck, Mandan, and the surrounding areas. If you designate your dollars, 100% goes directly to that program. And so people don't realize that. We don't have to do 100%. We could charge an admin fee, but we don't. I don't want to. I want people to know exactly where they want their dollars going and exactly where it's going to end up. And we're grateful because enough of the community members get what we do at United Way. They understand how efficient and effective we are. They understand that we have this pulse on what the needs are. We don't have to, most people don't designate because they don't necessarily, unless they're involved in the review process that we have at United Way, they don't really know where those gaps are. They don't know who's doing what. They don't know how effective the different agencies are or are not. And so that's part of our role and our value add at United Way is we're able to target what the real needs are and not just throw money at a problem. I wouldn't give to United Way if that's what we were doing and just coming back to you year after year and saying, oh, hunger is more of a problem. Oh, more kids need backpacks. I mean, that is what we're seeing because of the population increase, the downturn in the economy a little bit, although that's going to pick up a little bit here now. I'm happy to see that on the horizon for our community. But we're really looking at why are the kids going hungry in the first place? Why are there 871 kids needing our United Way backpacks every weekend? And what can we do about it? So we're bringing our partnerships together, and that's a huge reason why I love United Way.
And it's nice because, you talk about, why are kids going hungry in the first place, and our boards being able to make that local decision to say, we're not okay with them going hungry, but why are they going hungry? And so they've really stepped up and invested in our education initiative. And I think that just speaks to us being local and being able to make the decisions of what we want to do and seeing what the biggest needs are.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. We support Salvation Army. I love the leader we have now. He's a new leader. Major John and his wife are just awesome. They have an incredible local advisory board. And I went to them and I literally said, well, what do you think about doing a soup kitchen at Salvation Army? Because we haven't had one in a couple years. And they were all on board for it. They really wanted to help. But because Salvation Army, the decisions for our community are made elsewhere. So they weren't able to. Their hands were tied. And it's not their fault. And they do wonderful work. So it's just, at United Way, we could offer to fundraise for it. We could offer to recruit the volunteers. We would even run it, for goodness sakes, And so that's just one example. The Red Cross, we support the Red Cross. But your dollars, if there's flooding in Louisiana, your dollars go there. And a lot of the decisions are made outside of Bismarck. And it's not a bad structure. It's just not our structure. At United Way, our board is local. Our board has 100% autonomy in all decision making. They decide where every single penny goes. So when you give to United Way, you're giving to our community. You're not just giving to one specific need or program in the community. You're giving to solutions. Another misperception is, oh my goodness, I just talked to someone about this last week, is they think we support Planned Parenthood. I mean, that's just ludicrous. We don't even, first of all, we've never supported a Planned Parenthood. Second of all, we don't have Planned Parenthood here. So, I mean, that should show you right there that we do not and have not supported Planned Parenthood. We do have donors on both sides of that issue. It's just not our issue, And so another good one was gun control. I haven't heard that lately, but we did hear that one year. That was pretty good. Oh, and then CEO salary that I make billions of dollars or something ridiculous like that. And it's just this email that's been going around for decades. Literally. It's been a decade. It was going around when I first started at United Way 7 or 8 years ago.
I know. I think they keep the same graphic on Facebook from year to year. I don't know if it's changed.
And whatever. People can choose to look into information. It's often misinformation when it's online. And I really encourage people. We're so easy to talk to. We are 110% transparent. And so if you do have that misperception of how your dollars are being used, come visit us. Come volunteer with us. My goodness. See us running around with our heads chopped off.
Right. Yeah. Or join us on January 27th when we'll have our annual meeting and hopefully be an announcing goal. Or if you are wondering, if you're listening to us and you're saying, I've always I have heard that, or I've often wondered and I didn't know what to do. Call us, have us come in and do a presentation to your employees. It's really easy to set up an employee campaign within your office, do payroll deduction, and have us come and tell, why United Way and why is that a good investment.
Well, we literally have luckily, hundreds of businesses that allow us to come in. And I mean, even some of the top dogs like Basin Electric and MDU Resources, they open their doors to one agency and one agency alone, and that's United Way. And so it's not as if, we're saying yes to United Way, we have to say yes to everybody. We are everybody. When we and I'm not saying that in a pompous way. I'm saying it in the way that we represent the needs of the Abused Adult Resource Center, or Great Plains Food Bank, or the Burleigh County Senior Center. Our community needs these programs and these agencies, and we only accomplish this by working together.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're a new business in town or you're brand new, call United Way if you want to get volunteered. I think of Mary Ellen Fritz that joined our community last summer. And boy, has she volunteered for United Way and really got to meet a lot of great women in our community. And
she knows more people than I do, I think. Yeah, or be a mentor. One of the things I love about United Way is that we target real needs. So it's not just perceptions of issues. And one of those is that only 35% of our youth in Bismarck-Mandan feel they have a positive adult role model. That's absurd to me. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. So we've started some various ways to really insert volunteers into the lives of kids who are most in need. And Amber, you've done a great job at that with Women United.
Yeah, so we will be kicking off for this school year, this January, our Adopt a Classroom program where volunteers, individuals, or businesses can adopt a school. And so you could look at and say, we're close to Dorothy Moses and we'd love to adopt a few classrooms there and go in and be that positive mentor for those students, or just have lunch. And so our Women United will be going to Jeanette Myrie. We're starting January 17th, and there's multiple opportunities. You can, it will be focused on reading, but anytime between 9 and 12, you can pick an hour, pick a classroom and a grade, and go to Jeanette Myrie and volunteer. And so if you are interested, join us January 10th. We'll have a little orientation, tour the school at 3:30. And so if you have any other questions, call myself, Amber, at 255-3601 at United Way. We'll get you hooked up with a classroom.
Well, and it's really nice. I mean, all the women at United Way are participating in the Adopt a Classroom program. All the staff are heroes, which I think is just awesome. But it's a convenient way to make a big impact in kids' lives. A lot of times you can't do it every week, or maybe you can't do it every other week. Well, you can take turns with people that are so good. And the more you do it, the more you're going to want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Renee mentioned in their prior segment, they want us to try to start delivering to Lincoln. And so if you're a business out there too that have the noon hour available and you can rally the troops and take on that route there, they're thinking it will take 5 people. And they have 12 different individuals or couples identified that could be in need. So go to volunteerbisman.com, look and see what volunteer opportunities are in our community. And just real quick, Jenna, as we're wrapping up, what would you say is our biggest need to try to wrap up for our goal this year?
I would say, to be honest, we need people to pitch in and get us to our $2.6 million goal for this campaign. We have $55,000 we're still needing to raise for senior meals. These are home delivered meals that we provide to over 200 people right here in Bismarck and Burleigh County, but we're also over in Mandan. We need to raise about 20-some thousand for our United Way backpack program, making sure kids don't go hungry. And we're also needing to raise about $27,000 for our Dolly Parton Imagination Library, making sure kids get a free book in the mail every single month. So if you can give $5,000, $25,000, I guarantee you will leave a legacy in this community and make a big impact. Thanks for tuning in. Go to msaunitedway.org. We'll see you next week. This is United Way's Community Talk. Thank you to Town Square Media.